The history of the Pentagon's construction is a story of urgency, innovation, and determination that unfolded against the backdrop of a world on the brink of total war. Work began on September 11, 1941, a date that, decades later, would carry a very different and tragic significance. At that time, the United States was not yet formally involved in World War II, but tensions were rising rapidly, and the War Department faced a pressing problem. Its offices were scattered across more than 20 buildings in Washington, D.C., making communications slow and coordination difficult. A central headquarters was urgently needed. The project was placed under the leadership of Brigadier General Brehon B. Somerville, a man known for his uncompromising drive and ability to deliver results under extreme pressure. Somerville gave the design team just a few days to produce workable plans for a building that would consolidate the War Department's operations under one roof. His requirements were ambitious. The structure needed to be fireproof, built entirely from non-combustible materials like reinforced concrete, and equipped with modern comforts unusual for the time, including a full air conditioning system to keep thousands of employees comfortable and productive year-round. The design chosen was highly unconventional. Instead of a traditional rectangular office building, the architects opted for a five-sided layout, dictated in part by the irregular shape of the chosen site and the need to maximize efficiency. The final plan called for 5 concentric rings connected by 10 radial corridors, allowing workers to reach any point in the building in less than 7 minutes. A remarkable feature considering the building's vast size. This layout would prove so effective that it remains in use today, largely unchanged. Just 3 months after construction began, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, brought the United States into World War II. The shocking event gave the project new urgency. What had been an important peacetime infrastructure initiative suddenly became a wartime necessity. Resources, manpower, and materials were prioritized for the Pentagon's construction, even as steel and other strategic materials became scarce due to war demands. Builders substituted concrete for steel wherever possible and streamlined their processes to avoid delays. The construction effort was enormous in scale. At its peak, more than 15,000 workers labored on site, working day and night shifts in all weather conditions. To speed progress, construction began before the final designs were even completed, a risky decision that demanded constant on-the-fly adjustments from engineers and architects. Roads were built to bring in materials, and temporary housing was provided for workers. Remarkably, the Pentagon was completed in just 16 months. A feat almost unimaginable today for a project of its size and complexity. By January 1943, the building was ready for full occupation. It covered over 6 million square feet, making it the largest office building in the world, with enough space to house more than 20,000 employees. Its cost, roughly $83 million at the time, over $1 billion in today's dollars, was seen as justified by the critical role it played in coordinating America's war effort. The decision to make it fireproof and climate-controlled ensured that it could serve as a secure, comfortable workplace for decades to come. Indeed, more than 80 years later, the building continues to serve as the nerve center of the Department of Defense, overseeing operations across the globe. Today, the Pentagon is not only the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense but also one of the most visited government buildings in the country, attracting hundreds of thousands of people each year. For newcomers, it can feel like entering a foreign country, complete with its own customs, internal rhythms, and a dense, specialized language made up of acronyms and military jargon. Many people who have never served in the military often carry a stereotypical image of service members, seeing them solely as warriors focused on combat and discipline. While strength and readiness are certainly part of military life, the reality is far more complex and human. Across the country, military personnel regularly take part in community outreach programs, volunteer initiatives, and humanitarian efforts. Blood drives, for example, are a common sight on bases, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines lining up to donate. They also mentor local youth, assist in disaster relief, and support schools and charities. Training soldiers is about far more than handing them weapons and sending them into the field. Young recruits arrive with raw potential, but transforming them into effective fighters requires instilling discipline, mental resilience, and the ability to work as part of a cohesive unit. Military training is rigorous by design. Long hours of drills, physical conditioning, and relentless practice under pressure. It is not only about mastering weapons but also about learning to endure hardship, follow orders in the chaos of combat, and remain focused when every instinct urges panic. Discipline ensures that soldiers can function with precision even in life-or-death situations, while the controlled use of force, sometimes harsh in training, prepares them for the realities they may face in battle. But preparation is not static, it evolves with technology. In 2003, the U.S. military prepared to introduce a groundbreaking combat system called Land Warrior. This high-tech gear was designed to dramatically increase both the safety and lethality of soldiers on the battlefield. Land Warrior integrated advanced communication tools, GPS navigation, real-time data sharing, and improved protective gear into a single system worn by the soldier. Imagine a fighter who can instantly share enemy positions with teammates, receive live mission updates through a helmet display, and navigate unfamiliar terrain with digital precision, all while carrying weapons optimized for modern combat. The goal was clear: to create soldiers who could outthink and outmaneuver the enemy while reducing their own vulnerability. Together, traditional discipline and cutting-edge technology formed the backbone of modern military readiness. Lobbying for the military budget is a complex and crucial task that involves navigating the intricate halls of Congress and balancing competing interests. Funding the Pentagon is often a source of intense debate. The military budget represents one of the largest portions of the federal government's spending, making it a target for scrutiny from lawmakers focused on reducing deficits or redirecting funds to domestic programs. Critics may argue that certain projects are too expensive or question the necessity of maintaining large forces during peacetime. Conversely, defense advocates stress the unpredictable nature of global threats and the need for constant preparedness. This push and pull creates a challenging environment where compromises must be made without undermining military effectiveness. Despite these challenges, successful lobbying efforts have led to significant achievements. For instance, after persistent advocacy, Congress approved increased funding for next-generation combat vehicles and cyber defense initiatives, reflecting a shift toward modernizing the military for future threats. In summary, lobbying for the Army's budget is a demanding but vital process. On September 11th, multiple air disasters shook the nation, including 2 devastating crashes in New York City, part of a total of 15 major incidents that day. Amid this chaos, a military aircraft, heavily armed with missiles mounted on its wings, flew at high speed over the Pentagon. At first, the author of a first-hand account believed it was a bomb being dropped, overwhelmed by the noise and confusion. However, as the situation became clearer, it was revealed that the plane itself had crashed directly into the Pentagon's outer wall. In the immediate aftermath of the attack on the Pentagon, rescuers faced a harrowing and dangerous mission. Firefighters and emergency personnel worked tirelessly to extinguish raging fires that engulfed parts of the building. Amid the thick smoke and intense heat, teams navigated through damaged corridors, searching for survivors trapped beneath debris. One critical rescue involved pulling a severely injured individual from the burning structure. This act of bravery exemplified the courage and determination of the first responders who risked their lives to save others. However, the situation remained perilous. As firefighters fought to control the flames, they had to prevent rescuers from returning to hazardous areas that were structurally unstable and at risk of collapsing. This difficult decision was necessary to ensure the safety of the rescue teams while prioritizing the overall operation. Despite these precautions, the scale of the tragedy became evident as crews eventually discovered 15 bodies in one corridor alone, victims of the initial impact and ensuing chaos. The Pentagon's history is marked by both great triumphs and profound challenges, reflecting the complex realities of American military engagement throughout the 20th century. One of the most significant and controversial periods was the Vietnam War, which left an indelible mark on the U.S. armed forces and reshaped military strategy, politics, and public perception. The conflict tested the limits of military power and exposed the difficulties of fighting a protracted, unconventional war far from home.